Hello, St. Philip's family. One of my favorite psalms is Psalm 121. I was familiar with the psalm for most of my life, but it went towards the top of my list of scriptures when I was in my first semester in seminary. You see, one of my favorite professors in seminary was Miss Libby Groves. Libby was the widow of the former Hebrew professor Alan Groves, who died just before my arrival. His terminal cancer diagnosis came not only as an obvious shock to Libby, but also to the entire seminary community. He had been the beloved Old Testament professor there for 26 years, and when he finally went to be with the Lord, it wasn't long after that Libby herself decided to take up the mantle of Alan's work. But she taught Hebrew 1 and Hebrew 2 in her own way. She wasn't like the other professors I had. I'm convinced she was a master in early childhood education because her room was decorated like a first grade classroom. There were colored papers on the walls and posters everywhere filled with different Hebrew paradigms and diagrams that helped us learn the language. And the tops of the classroom walls were lined with all the topics that we would cover in the semester. It was sort of like a visual syllabus. And I can remember the really difficult concepts were on these pages that had bright orange flames all around the border, indicating that would be a tough class. It helped make those days of difficult Hebrew material a bit more manageable, and it brought a smile to my face. But Libby, she wouldn't stop there. On those flame days, she would dress up as a firefighter coming to put out the flames of confusing Hebrew syntax and grammar. Needless to say, it was a very dramatic contrast to every other seminary professor I had. Libby was a phenomenal teacher. And what surprised me the most was that these classes that were devoted to learning the language of Hebrew, which people might think were boring, were perhaps the ones that most fueled my devotional life in seminary. You see, given her sufferings with the loss of her husband, she had an incredible prayer life. She would start class and pray for sometimes up to 10 minutes. And you would know when you enter into prayer with someone who has been through hell and back and walked every step of it hand in hand with the Lord. That's like entering into holy ground. And it was just wonderful to listen to her pray. Oftentimes she would finish praying and the entire class would just be in tears. But one of the things that I loved the most about her class was that she would teach us Hebrew through singing. Libby knew that whenever you sing something, you learn it better. And the first song that she taught us to sing was the first couple verses from Psalm 121. Here it goes. Esa enai el harim, me'ayim yavo Ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai, osei shamayim v'haaretz. I sing that often to my children at night, and they think it's funny. They laugh at it a good bit. But it translates to this. I lift my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. Libby painted beautifully the picture of the context of this psalm. You see, Psalm 122 was one of the Songs of Ascent. These psalms were often recited by Jews who were making their way up to Jerusalem for one of their annual festivals or feasts. And because Jerusalem was literally a city set on a hill, the journey would always involve going up. The way up to Jerusalem was on a windy path through the hills, and these hills had a boundless number of nooks and crannies that made perfect hideouts for highway robbers. Think about the parable of the Good Samaritan, who fell amongst robbers going down from Jerusalem, walking these very same paths. The danger was very real, and it was a serious threat. And as families would be journeying on the pilgrimage to Jerusalem, they'd look up and they'd see these hills, and their hearts would begin to beat a little bit faster, their palms would get sweaty, and they'd feel the inevitability of the danger. The threat was real, and it was the only way between them and Jerusalem. They would then have sung this song that would strike courage into their chests. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. They would sing the one who created all these things, who made those very hills, who's sustaining all things, even the very breath of the robbers that may lie in wait for them. He is their help. They would sing on, He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you does not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. In Hebrew, the word keep is the same word for watch or guard. The one who is watching his people is on guard 24/7. Nothing will slip past him. No one could touch them apart from his express permission. He watches over them even more than he watches over the birds of the air and the flowers of the field that he so cares for. They are his covenant people, Israel, and he has bound himself to them in promise. Not one step of theirs goes unnoticed. No step is taken apart from his care. And they'd continue to sing, The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade on your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forevermore. Doesn't that stir up confidence in your heart? It reminds me a bit of the film Braveheart, where William Wallace gives this moving speech and they charge the field in battle. In this short psalm, the word keep or guard is mentioned here 6 times. And each time is about the all-seeing, ever-present God who has unlimited power, that he wields that power in protection of his people. I pray that this day you know that the Lord is your keeper. He is your guard. He watches over you. Nothing shall happen to you apart from his express command. And we know that he is working all things to his glory and our good. May you have that confidence in you this day, that he who watches over you neither sleeps nor slumbers. Because of him, we can have the confidence that no matter the threat that lies before us, we can boldly place each foot in front of the next, knowing that it is he who establishes our steps. May God bless you this day, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.